Okay, so now that we're done with this overview of plants, we're gonna rush over to a quick overview of humans. So humans, if you just like know about yourself, there's a lot of different systems in anatomy, and we're just gonna quickly touch upon each of them and what they do. So the circulatory system, right? You think like your heart, your blood vessels, they deliver oxygen and nutrients, and they remove waste. So your blood is like a circulating fluid. It goes up to your lungs. It gets oxygen from there, and it gets rid of carbon dioxide, which is a waste product. And then now that the blood has oxygen, it flows to every other part of your body and delivers those oxygen and any other nutrients to the different segments of your body. And so in the circulatory system, you have different types of blood vessels. You might have heard of like arteries. Arteries carry blood away. So arteries away. Arteries carry blood away from the heart. Veins carry blood towards the heart. It's a circulatory system. So first the blood goes away from the heart, and then it goes towards the heart. And in the middle there, it's you have the capillaries. And the capillaries are where most of the exchange of oxygen and nutrients happen. And so you have next you have the digestive system. So you're absorbing nutrients there. You're eating food. It goes down to your digestive system, and your digestive system extracts all the good nutrients. Those nutrients again go into your blood, your circulatory system, to be circulated to every other part of your body. The endocrine system regulates your body with hormones, right? When you hit puberty, you have growth hormone. You have all sorts of hormones that are acting on you all the time, right? When you're going to sleep, and you have hormones that controlling things like your blood pressure. So hormones really help control our body, keep it in balance. The integumentary system, a lot of people think of skin is protection, right? Your skin is protecting all sorts of different pathogens from entering the body. The immune and lymphatic systems are defense. Those are like your white blood cells. They defend your body from any internal pathogens, and actually external pathogens too. Fun fact, your tears have an enzyme called lysozyme that kills bacteria. This does not mean that you should cry over all your bacteria to disinfect it, but it is a defense mechanism, for example, for your eyes. The muscular system coordinates movement, right? You move your muscles, you contract them, and then you can move your body around. The nervous system coordinates sensory input and action. So your nervous system is how you can hear me right now, how you can see the screen, and then it will take all that sensory input in and then tell your muscles essentially, okay, so this is how you're gonna move. And so it's coordinating all these sensory inputs and determining what is the proper action to take. The most famous part of your nervous system, of course, is your brain and then your spinal cord. The urinary system helps with filtering your blood. And so your blood can get all sorts of waste products in it. The urinary system through the kidneys, you have two kidneys in your body, and they will filter out the blood, and then all the waste products will be concentrated in urine, and that will be excreted out of your body. You have the reproductive system, which helps us produce offspring so we can continue our species. The respiratory system helps with gas exchange. So remember that we want oxygen, right? And we don't want carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is the waste product. Oxygen is what we need to produce energy through ATP. So respiratory system helps with that. It helps bring in more oxygen and take out carbon dioxide. And the way that works is the circulatory system goes over to the lungs, and then it can exchange the gases at the lungs. Skeletal system provides structure. So it's the reason why we can sit up right now. It keeps the shape and form of our body. So now we're just going to concentrate a bit on the heart and the circulatory system. So this is the heart. This is not the heart. There are a lot of hypotheses why we all draw hearts like this. You can look those up after the class if you're interested in knowing why. But this is what the actual heart looks like. It's not the best resemblance. I mean, I can kind of see it, but it's quite different. And so we're just going to quickly follow over the circulation inside the heart. So you remember that your heart is pumping blood to your lungs and into your body. So there are actually two circuits per se in the human body in terms of the circulatory system. You have two functions for your heart essentially. You want to pump the blood up to the lungs so that you can bring in new oxygen and take out carbon dioxide. And you also want to pump this oxygenated blood, this blood with oxygen in it, to the rest of the body, so the rest of the body has oxygen. So the first thing is, let's say that your blood, you just came back from delivering blood to the rest of the body. And so you're going to come in to the heart, look at this blue part here. And essentially, you're going to be entering the right atrium. So that's where all the deoxygenated blood from the body is coming in. And then you're going to go to the right ventricle. And the right ventricle is going to pump you out through the pulmonary arteries. And you're going to go all the way up to the lungs. And you're going to exchange gas there. So you're going to get rid of your carbon dioxide and bring in new oxygen. And once you're coming in, after that, you're coming back from your lungs to your heart. And remember, we said veins bring blood back to the heart. So it's called the pulmonary vein because pulmonary relates to the lungs. The pulmonary vein will bring this oxygenated blood back into your heart, into the left atrium. And then from the left atrium, your blood will flow to the left ventricle, and the left ventricle will push the blood with oxygen in it to the rest of your body. And then once it returns from there, it will come in back to the right atrium. So it's a circuit. And why do we need to divide the heart into two different circuits like this? It's because if we just had like all the blood mixing together and like some of it goes to the lungs, some of it goes to the rest of the body, then the blood doesn't have very much oxygen in it. But here through the, like, this circuiting system where we have a pulmonary circuit and a systematic, like the rest of your body circuit, then in the first circuit, the pulmonary circuit, you can make sure that you get all the blood that doesn't have oxygen in it and give it oxygen. And then once the blood has oxygen, then you distribute it to the rest of your body. So you're ensuring that you can get lots of oxygen to the rest of your body. So again, you have blood coming back from the body, flowing into the right atrium. It doesn't have oxygen. It goes into the right ventricle. It's pumped to the lungs through the pulmonary artery. The artery carries the blood to the lungs where it gets oxygenated and takes away carbon dioxide. And then the blood, now that it has oxygen, it flows back into the into the left atrium through the pulmonary veins. And then from here on, it goes into the left ventricle and then is pumped out to the rest of the body through this aorta. So this is just another schematic to see it again. You have the blood coming in to the right atrium, pumped to the lungs, to the ventricles, and then it comes back into the left atrium, pumped through the left ventricle to the rest of the body. Another interesting thing that you might want to know about the heart is you might have heard that the heart is on the left side of the body, and that is the reason why our lungs don't have the same number of lobes on both sides. The left side of our lungs has one less lobe than the right side because the heart, of course, occupies space in our body. So the lungs cannot be as big on the left side. Okay, taxonomy-wise is another thing you might want to know for biology. You might have learned this in your elementary school or middle school biology classes, but we want to classify these animals, right? We don't want to say like that's an animal or a plant or a bacteria. We want to like be able to say how related they are to each other and essentially classify them through a practice called taxonomy. And so in taxonomy, what you generally want to know is that there's just a bunch of different ways, different orders of naming here. And so if you look at like the gray wolf, Canis lupus, right? So Canis is its genus, lupus is its species name. And so if you go up, it tells you more about it. So you have species is lupus, and then it's in the genus Canis. It's in the family, which is in an order, which is part of a class of just all mammals. And then it's in the phylum, and then it's in kingdom. And then this kingdom is part of a domain. So first, let's kind of focus on the domain. So we already talked about the domains, right? We have like the eukaryotes. We talked about their cells. We have the prokaryotes. And we also have, like, you can kind of look at it that way. But you also need to be aware that bacteria and archaea, which are both prokaryotes, are different things in different domains. But let's just focus on this for now. So eukarya, and then you have kingdoms. There's like Animalia, Plantae for plants, fungi for fungi. And you can go down again in order and be able to name. You have the ability through taxonomy to name the scientific name for each animal. And this is usually written in Latin. And the guy who came up with taxonomy, his name was Carl Linnaeus. And then the other thing that you'll want to know is just, you kind of just want to remember the order. A lot of the times in science world, they'll just ask you what is the order of the taxonomic rankings from like biggest to smallest. And so the mnemonic that I use is King Philip came over from Great Spain. So King, kingdom, Philip is phylum, came is class, over, order, from, family, great, genus, and then Spain, species. So King Philip came over from Great Spain. And you just need to remember the domain. There are three: eukarya, bacteria, and archaea. And we're not going to talk about archaea during today's class, but just know that archaea and bacteria are both types of prokaryotes.